Hey, somebody else told you. All right, Coach Liner, come on and tell us about the Raiders.
We started out week 1 with Belton Honeypath, and I'll be honest with you, I really just don't want to talk about that game because I'll turn into a 2-year-old. And honestly, a huge chunk of that was just some decisions we had to make. Me personally and as a staff, with some personnel things that, we felt like we had to do, or we'd be a one-hit wonder like Billy Ray Cyrus or something, and it just didn't pan out. So had some kids in some places that we weren't giving them a chance to be successful, and that's my fault. Week 2, we changed that, and we had a long staff meeting over the weekend and worked really hard at finding an opportunity or finding a home for our kids that we have that are, and a lot of them are ultra talented. We just weren't doing a very good job of giving them an opportunity to be successful. Had a really good win versus the Spring Valley football team that was really good. They were great last year, and they're still pretty good. They returned most of their defense. It was exciting. I tell you, and I've been asked this question a couple times, the first 2 weeks we played at home, and I was really worried after the Belton Honeypath game. I mean, it was packed. I mean, it was what makes football Friday night special where we live. It was just a tremendous amount of support, loud, and we did get the game within a score with like 3 minutes left to go and had the ball and snapped it over the head into the end zone for safety. And I said I was going to talk about that game, but we had an opportunity at the end to make it a game and just didn't do it. So, but it's been tremendous. And I was walking off the field, the Belton Honeypath game, because I pout literally bad when we lose. I don't like to lose. It drives me insane. I will work 24 hours trying to figure out why. And sometimes that's not good for my family or myself, but I just don't know any other way. But when I was walking off the field, and I know coaches can relate to this, and a lot of you that coached before, I heard a fella say, "Man, I told y'all we shouldn't have hired that joker here. He don't know what the hell he's doing." And on and on and on and on. Same fella this past Friday night. It was awesome. It was like we were destined to meet. I heard him tell the same cast of characters, and y'all know who those characters are. "Man, I told you if we just gave him a chance, we'd be all right." And it was funny. I didn't plan that out that way, but it happened. But I was really shocked and pleasantly surprised at the turnout this past Friday night. It was unbelievable to see those same faces came back to support. And it's not about me. It never has been, never will be. It's not about our staff, but it's about our kids. And they came there in support of them. Sometimes adults and grown folks, have their own agendas and all this kind of crazy stuff that we think we're doing the right thing, and it makes you wonder sometimes. But the school is for the kids. Football is for the kids. We enjoy it, but it's about them and not about me, or certainly not about anybody in this room. And I think a lot of times we tend to forget that, and we want to walk around like Tarzan or whatever and beat our chest, but it's about them. And it was awesome to see the Lawrence folks come back out Friday night against Spring Valley, and fortunately they were treated to an awesome game, and we were able to come out on top and had a lot of really good things happen that night. Started seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, and some things that we've tried real hard to instill in our players. You're starting to see some glimpses of that hey, you're starting to see some buy-in, and some kids that, a couple of them are sitting right here, and I'm going to mention them in just a second, because it's tough. When you have a new staff come in, especially for seniors, and that's 2 of them sitting right there, it's kind of like inheriting a stepdad, when you're in high school. You don't really know how to react to that. It's very difficult to trust them because you don't know if they're just telling you what you want to hear, or if you're really in the trench in the foxhole with them and you're fighting for them and all that stuff. But you started to see a lot of that in practice this past week, even more so this week. So it's exciting to see where this plays out this year with these guys. I did bring 2 of our guys, and y'all can go stand up together. I brought Quay Parks and Tay Simpson. These are 2 of our defensive linemen, and y'all can sit back down, guys. And after the game at the Belton Honeypath, and Quay doesn't know this because I didn't tell him, their defensive coordinator, Steve Williams, walked over and said, "Coach, who in the world," and he's a Shrine Bowl assistant this year, is number 44. And I told him, he said, "Would you make sure that we have his video?" I said, "You're darn right." He said, "Because we hadn't blocked him yet." I'm not huge on statistics. Some of them are. Like, I know our time of possession this past Friday night was almost 2-1, 30 minutes to 18, which is something huge for us. And I know Scott was alluding to that earlier. And it's something that, we're trying to do a little bit. Now, we do get in some spread stuff at times, but, we like to hammer you. And so that was a huge stat for us. But I know that Quade, after watching the video, they did not block him, not one single time. He wreaked havoc and has done all preseason and did again this past Friday night. When he wants to, he's as good a defensive lineman as there is in the state. There's no doubt about that. He's quick, he's strong, and he's one that I've really counted on a lot, being a go-to guy for us and being somebody that can command the locker room and somebody that I'm really counting on to lead people in the right way, okay? Tay Simpson, Friday night, he had about 10 total tackles, several unassisted, I think 4 and 6. He returned, he had a defensive touchdown, he had 2 covered fumbles, just played outstanding, and is an even a better young man, which, again, first and foremost for us, that's the most important thing. But he's lightning quick, he plays defensive end for us and runs a 4.52, and that's pretty darn good. Quay runs a 4.8. which is pretty darn good. I mean, our defensive front are fast, lightning fast, and certainly they've been a huge part of the success that we've had so far, and that gave us an opportunity to be in every game, including the Belton Honey Path game. But certainly Friday night, it certainly hasn't been anything we've done as a play caller. And you're looking at him. We've been very anemic at times on offense, but we've done just enough to allow the guys on defense to give us a chance to win, and that's kind of what's happened. We've gotten better, but we've still got a long ways to go. And that's something we tried to talk to our players a lot about this week, because sometimes it's just as hard to deal with a little bit of success as it is to deal with adversity. And that's something we tried to really drive home to them this week, because it's fun when everybody's patting you on your back. It's a whole lot harder when people are kicking you in the butt. And certainly we've experienced both of those in the first 2 weeks. Okay. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate all the Lawrence folks. It's been an awesome first couple of weeks, and we expect that to continue.
For our feature speaker today, we decided to bring one of our local guys. He's had the opportunity to speak here several times. He speaks at touchdown clubs all over the state, and we thought, he really needs to come speak to our group, because he brings a great message, does a great job with the PC Blue Hose. They picked up a big win last week, and they've got a big one tomorrow. So, round of applause for Coach Harold Nichols.
Everybody hear me? Thank you so much for having me. Brian Reese, our athletic director, is actually teaching class today at noon, and I know he loves coming and being a part of this. On behalf of Dr. Lilly, our president, so excited about being a part of this community, and this is a big piece of it. I brought Donnell Williams with me. Donnell is a redshirt junior. Donnell is the only one that I could find that didn't have a 12 o'clock class today. Donnell's been a really big, important part of our program for the last few years. He was the freshman of the year in the conference, been all-conference player. He's the second leading tackler in PC history in the Division I era that we've had. An outstanding player, had a knee injury last year as a junior, and has had 2 really good weeks here to start off with. Really excited about our first night home game the other night. It was a great affair, a great day. I think the last time that I was up here in front of you, I was a little bit sleep deprived because I didn't get in until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning playing Northern Illinois. But totally opposite football game for us and our football team. I give our kids credit. They did a really nice job in going out and taking care of business and doing what they needed to do to win the football game. The first night home football game since 1990. We had a great affair honoring Coach Galt. We had 200 or 300 former players back. I got to see guys that I hadn't seen in a long time. We are so lucky. We are so lucky to be able to have coaches like Coach Galt and Coach Dixon and Coach Strock, Coach Tiller. they have influenced, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the power of influence here in a second, but they have influenced an entire generation of young men that have walked through the halls at PC. You talk about a life of service that all these coaches have had, including me. You know, I find myself, the way I approach coaching my football team, making decisions, using words like character and integrity and accountability. You know, I learned that from them. And, you know, the platform that coaches have, and players, and I'm going to get into that in a minute too, is tremendous. It is a huge responsibility for all of us. But that was a great afternoon for Coach, and I don't know if they got you your bluegrass band or not, Coach, but I know that it was a very festive afternoon, and we had perfect weather that night, had a great crowd. Hoseville was cranking, our student section was going, and it was just a great night. I wish they could all be like that, but I know they're not. To be honest with you, I really don't know what kind of football team I've got. You know, you play two teams, polarizing teams. You know, Northern Illinois, as I told y'all, they were really good. They were beating Northwestern by 16 points in Chicago at Northwestern and ended up beating them the other night. So I think they're a top 20 football team. I think they're pretty good. I had a radio personality ask me a question from ESPN Upstate the other day. He said, you know, well, Coach, you're playing Ole Miss, you're playing North Carolina State, Northern Illinois. You know, and I know, you know, some of it is for monetary reasons and that kind of stuff, but, you know, Northern Illinois really doesn't rank in that. I said, well, they pay us a lot of money, and I wouldn't have gone to Chicago for any other reason. So I put them in that category there, that's for sure. But talking about our schedule, obviously we've got a big game tomorrow night against the 12th ranked team in the country in Furman. They're an outstanding program, have been at the FCS level for a long time. And this schedule that we've got is pretty daunting. It reminds me a little bit some of the two generals. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but there was a German general and an Italian general. And the German general was trying to inspire his men. They were fixing to go into battle, and the German general said, Wolfgang, give me my red coat. So when I go into battle, and if I get shot, it'll hide the blood. And I'll be able to inspire my soldiers. Italian general said, Luigi, get my brown pants. So I want to be like the German general, not the Italian general. That's a good one. I love that. But we do have a very difficult schedule, starting with Furman tomorrow night. I saw Justin Bethel the other night on national television on Monday Night Football. He's changed numbers from 31 to number 28. Played at the Pro Bowl last year, and is just representing Presbyterian College in the NFL and doing a wonderful job. It's so exciting to see one of our own on national television playing in the NFL. We've had a lot of NFL scouts come through, and I'm going to reference this back again later on in my talk here, but that have talked about Justin and the power of influence that he's had in the locker room out there in Arizona. And you know, what a well-respected member in their organization he is, and what you hear and see in all the headlines in the NFL now, they need guys like Justin Bethel more than ever. But he's doing great. Really proud of Justin and what he's been able to do. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this Division I transition that we're going through. You know, there's worry. I worry all the time. I worry about everything. I worry about 114 kids. I worry about my staff, their families. I worry a lot, you know, and I trust God a lot, you know, to kind of ease that burden a little bit. One of my favorite sayings, and I've got to put on my glasses here so I can read it, but one of my favorite sayings is patience, because we are not a patient society in any stretch of the imagination. You know, we're an instant society. Everything is now. But patience gets a workout when God's answer is a no answer, when it's silent. In other words, God's answer is not always yes, and it's not always no. Sometimes He just says, not now. Be still. Not now.